mezcal.
Margarita.
A lot of margaritas.
Not a
Yeah.
Oh, do we need?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun.
Faye.
I'm sitting here between Faye and Misty Eye.
Woo!
Lucky am I.
Two green-eyed beauties. How can you stand it?
And Gabe Galen with us.
Oh, you said gay.
Did I say
Gay
gay?
galan.
It's galan.
Galan.
Gabe. I thought you said
galan
gay.
is
No,
like
I
a
said
gentleman
it.
in
Like,
Spanish.
We have
right?
gay.
Galan.
Gabe Galan.
We have the gay,
The gay.
the gay Faye too.
All right.
Gay face.
Y'all give me the word.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, May 5th, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. The world's first live daily queer evening news show, out of the closet and into the headlines on Q News Tonight. Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens, you're going to see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and WeMeg Events. Hotspots is celebrating 35 years of the LGBTQ experience, and WeMeg is bringing you the Wilton Manors Stonewall Pride Parade on June 19th. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ news, entertainment, and support of our LGBTQ community. This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and let's welcome anchor Faye What? She's a radio and television personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. A board member at Unity Coalition, she is the host of UC Television, owner of Faye's Fur Family, and is the anchor of the travel news show Happening Out.Travel. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, familia, and happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone.
Good de Mayo.
So let's welcome anchor John Buckley, known as Buck Lords from the famous House of Lords. He is the Vice President and Program Director of Unity Coalition, creator of the Caoba, a free traveling social event that features speakers, topics, and a safe space for all same-gender loving men of color. Good evening, John.
Thank you, Faye. Always good to be here. Let's welcome anchor Misty Eyes. She is the Director of Transgender Services, Women's Services, and Training Education for SunServe, one of South Florida's most respected LGBTQ nonprofits. She is a highly celebrated and award-winning entertainer, MC, journalist, drag queen, and makeup artist. Good evening, Misty.
Good evening, John. Thank you. And let's welcome anchor Gabe Galan. He works in the aviation industry and is a journalist that attended the Associated Press Television and Radio Association Arizona State Cronkite Summer College program, one of the nation's best journalism schools. Before South Florida, Gabe was at KTTV Fox 11 Los Angeles. Good evening, Gabe.
Hey, thanks, Misty. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBT community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the Queer News today, Wednesday, May 5th.
Let's begin by queering up education. Tennessee will excuse students from lessons with LGBTQ plus content. Tennessee's state government seems to be in a race with Arkansas to be the most homophobic state in America. Tennessee's governor has signed a bill into law requiring schools to give parents a 30-day notice about any lessons that deal with sexual orientation or gender identity, and allow the parents to opt their children out of that instruction. Republican Governor Bill Lee signed Senate Bill 1229 into law yesterday, and it applies regardless of whether the curriculum is offered as part of a family life program, sex education program, or any other programs. Students will not be penalized for opting out. The HRC notes the new law stands to interfere with literature and history courses, as it could keep students from learning about the AIDS epidemic, the Stonewall riots, or even the Supreme Court decisions on gay marriage. This move is just the latest in a series of anti-LGBTQ hate bills in Tennessee.
They're literally trying to erase us.
This bill is disgraceful. You know that I'm a kid of immigrants, you know? My parents are from Colombia, my dad is from Puerto Rico, and when I was a kid, they were freshly here, all right? So they were afraid of a lot of stuff. The reality is that during that time, AIDS and crack were prevalent and they were killing lots of people. I would have never learned anything about those two subjects if it wasn't from school. And my parents would have not allowed it because they always tried to shelter me so much.
If I ignored it, it goes away.
Exactly. So, I mean, come on, this is just awful. It really is.
This is restricting the lifestyle of the kids actually learning the history, the backgrounds of the life.
Yeah, imagine the pressure on the students that want to opt out. And the pressure of, wait, you're coming out of the class, and the attention it brings to them.
It reminds me of the first time you get an STD. If you ignore it, it does not go away.
Only gets
Wow,
worse.
Misty.
Yeah, you know, and for me, I always apply a litmus standard to all of these crazy evangelical, extreme evangelical, and radical Republican bills that we're seeing in many, principally southern states. I apply a standard of a litmus. Would this be acceptable if it was 1958 and you passed the exact same law, take out the word sexual identity or sexual
Put
gender,
black.
and put in black?
Yep.
And we will not be able to teach anything in our school that has anything to do with a black person and pass
They
that
tried
as
that.
law. That's exactly
They
what
did
they're
that.
doing
They
here.
whitewashed it.
You know where this is going to go? The Supreme Court. Even a Republican-appointed Supreme Court is going to strike it down eventually, but it's going to be horrible to get there.
Next, we queer up South Florida. AQUA announces new board chair, Karen Costello-Wilder. Grace Lopez, executive director of AQUA Foundation and a great friend of Queer News Tonight, AQUA Foundation for Women announced today that they have a new board chair, Karen Costello-Wilder. Karen has been a part of the AQUA family for many years and has served on the board of directors since 2018. She has worked extensively in the restaurant and fine dining industries. She has been married to her partner Rosemary Wilder for 22 years. Karen has been involved in women's issues since coming to Miami in 2013 and with AQUA Foundation since its inception. The AQUA Foundation for Women is one of America's leading advocacy organizations for women's rights and advancements and support directly in the LGBTQ community. Everyone here at Queer News Tonight congratulates AQUA and Karen Costello-Wilder on her new role in our community.
I am a proud AQUA scholar. I did receive an AQUA Women's Foundation scholarship to
that's
go back to
awesome.
school.
That's awesome.
And I was really nervous to apply because I'm not a lesbian. And I thought that that was only lesbian, but they very much embraced the T, and I am a proud AQUA scholar.
No,
And I
no,
love
that's
Karen and Rosemary and Grace.
Well, I met Karen recently at a webinar about health, and she is so secure and so like straightforward. Like she's going to be a great addition. And I had the pleasure of speaking to Grace Lopez today, and she said there's more news coming that we will hear about it
good.
soon. So we'll see.
Awesome. Excellent. And one other thing that I would like to just say on behalf of Queer News Tonight, I frequently say we do not do enough L stories at Queer News Tonight for the LGBTQ community. I'm happy we're doing this story, and I'm happy to do the shout out for AQUA Foundation to say we're here. Queer News Tonight is here, and we want to support the L of our community.
And AQUA Girl is coming! Time to party, girls! Woo, woo.
Hey.
Sorry, next story.
All right. Next, let's queer up entertainment. Ryan Reynolds very much wants Marvel to let Deadpool be bisexual in future films.
Ooh, wait. Ooh.
Ryan Reynolds is apparently urging Marvel to let Deadpool be openly bisexual in future films. The character is pansexual in Marvel's comics, but aside from a few jokes here and there, Deadpool, also known as Wade Wilson, has been depicted as heterosexual in his feature film outings. According to reports from prominent tipster Daniel Richman, Reynolds, quote, very much wants his superhero to explore his sexuality in upcoming third film. He also said Reynolds asked Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige to make Deadpool openly bi. This new report adds to what Reynolds has already previously spoken about Deadpool's sexuality. At San Diego Comic-Con Q&A in 2018, he answered a question about it by saying, quote, "I certainly think that the universe needs to represent in very real ways," end quote. And about a pansexual or bisexual nature, he said, quote, "It's something that I'd love to see more of, certainly through Wade, certainly through his universe, because it's something that we're building out more. I think his sexuality can be explored in many ways," end quote. Deadpool 2 has broke ground by portraying a lesbian superhero couple between mutants Nagasonic Teenage, Warhead, and Yukio.
You know, a lot of LGBTQ people live in closets, especially in their childhood. And the secret identity of superheroes and the aspect of living by day one way and code switching into the superhero is something that the LGBTQ community can usually relate to. And I think this is vital for our children to be able to look up to a hero when people are saying bisexual is not a thing. You're not really bisexual. You're just afraid to say you're gay. And for somebody that's both attracted to masculine men and feminine women, etc., it's very important to show representation.
I love how Ryan Reynolds supports the whole thing, and he's like, hey, if the
I'll do
character was pansexual, why not make him pansexual? I'm in for it. Let's do it, you know?
I want to see a man kiss.
It's going to bring a bigger audience
Yes.
to the Marvel side.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Beyond bigger audience.
Bigger?
Are you imagining?
Say bigger again and don't
Yeah,
smile.
all right. I paused myself there. Thank you for
Bigger.
saving me there. It's funny because I constantly say representation matters, and that's certainly
true.
true
It does.
in this story.
Very does.
But isn't it appropriate for me to just say Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
and Deadpool and his sense of humor, and he wears the mask and he's burned and beyond recognition and can be ugly but can be beautiful and can be handsome. And he's going to be bisexual with another man. Oh
That's
my
hot.
gosh, that's hot.
That's very
it's
hot.
just hot.
Absolutely.
Deadpool having sex with Ricky Martin. I can see it. Can you guys
Can
see
you?
it? Because I am imagining
Caliente,
it.
mama.
That's the Latina girl
Caliente,
fantasy.
mama.
I'll be watching.
All right, on that note, next week we're up the road to Stonewall. Disney releases its new Pride 2021 collection, and people are living. Pride Month is almost upon us, and as is now customary, Disney has unveiled its annual Pride collection of merchandise. By percentage of employees, Disney is the largest LGBTQ employer in the world. Previous Pride designs have proved hugely popular, so the corporation yesterday unveiled a big collection of new items. They include not just the Disney brand, but also Star Wars and Pixar, which are both owned by Disney. The new collection includes t-shirts, fans, which are perfect for a little shade, at least according to the press statement. And in this announcement, the Walt Disney Company also said they are very proud of its LGBTQ-friendly credentials. It once again scored the top mark of 100 on the Human Rights Campaign Annual Corporate Equality Index earlier this year, which is an index of major businesses according to how LGBTQ-friendly they are. And besides all of that, it's Pride Month, it's Disney, and it's Queer News Tonight, and we just love merch.
Mickey. Why? Because we're gay as hell. That's why.
I was about to say MOUSE.
And you know what's awesome about this is that also a portion of all the money made by these items are also given back to LGBTQ organizations. So I mean, that's incredible of Disney to do that.
Yeah. There is some criticism in the community about commercialism surrounding Pride Month, and sometimes that can be true. And representation matters, no matter how you get there. We need our sponsors. We need our sponsors. We need our sponsors. This is a little bit different. Disney walks the walk and talks the talk. Yeah. They employ the employees.
Yes. Yeah.
And they do everything to stand up for our community, including fighting politically, the Equality Act, against the trans bill in Florida, et cetera, and so on. So in this instance, they get an asterisk. And I have to admit, when I saw this today for the first time on the new announcement, I smiled. And I thought, wow, it's great. It's that time of year again.
And on the first Saturday of the month, we all wear red at the Magic Kingdom.
Yes,
First
we
Saturday
do.
of June month, we all wear red. And now you can buy a Disney red shirt, I saw.
Yeah, great.
Let's queer up gay culture. Bob Mizer and his crew of vintage photographers still do it for us. At Queer News Tonight, we bring our viewers the very best of gay culture through authors, painters, book, photographers, and more. We have brought you so many books and coffee table photo albums, but they are new. So Bob Mizer's new collection caught our attention, as you will see, a collection of athletic young men photographed over the last 60 years. These rare and beautiful photographs deserve the LGBT community's attention. You can see more at bobmizer.org and on Bob Mizer's social media.
I love these pictures. I love that they're old. My favorite was that guy with the real short shorts and the woman walking by going, "What the hell? Hey, you sexy." Right?
That was the style back then.
And brings a lot of different aspects of when they started taking photography for the gay community.
I love that's what hot back then is still hot today. I mean, of course, there's a lot more muscle and steroids and stuff now, but back then those men were fine.
There's a lot more manscaping now, too. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all have been talking for the last 3 minutes. I've been watching the monitor.
A little distraction or a big, huge one.
So next, we queer up the USA. This Texas teen just became one of BSA's first ever trans Eagle Scouts. At Queer News Tonight, if we do a story about the Boy Scouts of America, well, the news about them has generally been bad. And that is why this story caught LGBTQ America's attention. The news? Well, Texas teenager Jace King is the first openly transgender teen in their hometown to become an Eagle Scout, as well as one of the first in the entire country. The 17-year-old high school student joined a BSA troop near their town of Splendora, Texas. I love that name, Splendora, Texas, in 2019, after the group formerly known as the Boy Scouts of America began allowing youth of all genders to join. In 2017, the nation's largest youth organization announced that trans boys would be permitted to participate in BSA for the first time in its history. Later the same year, it announced that girls were allowed in the club, which formally changed its name to the gender-neutral BSA in 2019. The inclusion of trans scouts made possible King's lifelong dream, which was to become an Eagle Scout like their older brother. But they had to work fast to achieve it before turning 18, sacrificing weekends in order to qualify for the award as quickly as possible. King's efforts paid off, as they reportedly earned the rank of Eagle Scout in record time. King said, quote, "It usually takes 4 to 6 years. I did it in 25 months, end quote. Everyone at Happening Out Television Network celebrate the Jace King's achievement. You have done the entire LGBTQ community proud."
I never thought this would happen.
Isn't that awesome?
I never thought. This is major.
And they thought it would never happen either.
That's interesting to me, Misty, from your seat. I mean, you have been a trailblazer in so many different areas. Eagle Scout is the pinnacle of a young person's youth organization. You never considered that a trans person could do it?
No, they're so homophobic. BSA before BSA was extremely homophobic. And if there was any hint of things happening on the side, no, I never in a million years. And I wasn't a BSA. That's very triggering. Wow. I was never a BSA, but I was a part of the Royal Rangers, which is the Christian version.
How interesting. See, I wanted to be a Boy Scout, and they, of course, wouldn't let me in because I'm a girl and I have a vag, and right? But they wanted me to be. They wanted me to be a freaking brownie. Okay, I don't like brownies. I don't eat brownies unless there's weed in them. So it was like, what am I going to do with this? No way. Just saying.
I think one quick note about the achievement, and I hope they will see our story of tribute to them in this achievement. It is a reminder, we've talked about it in the gay community, the lesbian community, the bisexual, queer community. It's not something that we talk about much in the T of LGBTQ, the trans community, but you can have role models that challenge you to say, I can do this too. And it's interesting to me, in the same 100 days, in the same 110 days, somebody can become in record time an Eagle Scout in BSA and represent the trans community, and someone can be a Senate appointed cabinet member in the Biden White House from the trans community for Health and Human Services. You can look up to your trans leadership that can implement change, and you can do it too. And I think that that's wonderful in 21.
It is. Next, let's queer up the world. Czech Republic same-sex marriage bill uncertain following first vote. Czech Republic's historic vote on same-sex marriage took place this week and was passed in the lower house of parliament. The bill has been postponed for 3.5 years since it was introduced. The new bill will be debated by the head committee and then subject to a final vote. The same-sex legislation adapts Czech Republic's existing civil code, which says marriage is between a man and a woman to 2 persons. Same-sex couples have been able to enter into registered partnership since 2006, but cannot be legally married. Excuse me. President Milos Zeman has promised to veto the same-sex marriage bill if it is passed. Local Czech media reported Zeman stood firmly against the cause and argued marriage was for families to raise children. Jasim Fear, a campaign advocating a full equality of LGBT people in the Czech Republic, reports 67% of Czechs are in favor of same-sex marriage equality.
It's not going to pass. Unfortunately, it has to go through 2 committees and it has to be brought, all this needs to happen before October elections. So it won't happen. It'll be pushed underneath again and they'll have to start all over.
There's some good news here. You're absolutely right, but there's some good news here. First off, let's take the victory lap that the majority of the population in the Czech Republic supports gay marriage. By the way, that's exactly what it is in America.
And they're next door to
the vast
Poland.
majority of Americans support the Equality Act.
Right.
The Equality Act likely is not going to pass because of the evangelical and radical Republican agenda that is going to prevent it from passing. But that's not what the majority of Americans want, and it's not what the majority of Czech Republic wants. The one good thing that's on the horizon, and not only here in America, not only in Tennessee, not only in Arkansas, but in Eastern Europe, in Poland, Czech Republic, Romania, etc., boycotts work. An economic boycott in Eastern Europe, especially in Poland, is really hitting them fiercely now. Poland's losing billions of dollars because of their LGBT free zones.
Oh, yeah.
If this doesn't pass, it means that the Czech Republic will become a bullseye for the European Union, and they will boycott their money and spending in the Czech Republic to punish them. Good. That leads to change.
That is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies. Queer News Tonight has been LGBTQ America's most important news source on the pandemic, as we have reported on the coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6, 2020.
Tonight, we report the devastating effects coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBTQ communities in total cases and deaths.
But we also provide hope of a new light at the end of this long tunnel. As of tonight, more than 2,329,000 LGBTQ Americans have contracted COVID-19.
We have watched the greatest single-year LGBTQ health crisis of our lifetimes. More than 41,000 LGBTQ Americans have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 247 million vaccination doses have been administered in just the U.S.
So with all of that information, let's queer up Quarantine Quickies. Wilson Cruz stars in Vaccine PSA targeting
Black Indigenous people of color.
Black Indigenous people of color. Entitled, "This Is Your Shot." Thanks for the help there,
No
y'all.
problem.
Gay actor Wilson Cruz is among the latest Hollywood stars to urge fellow Americans to get vaccinated in new PSAs from the Creative Coalition and the National Blue Ribbon Task Force to stem COVID-19 vaccination hesitancy. The Star Trek Discovery star challenges the LGBTQ community to get vaccinated, as it may not only save your life and that of your family members, it is also the most effective way to prevent future surges and allow all of us to return to some normal lives, including reopening international travel. The Puerto Rican actor also recorded this PSA in Spanish, and we're going to show it to you now. Watch this.
I got my COVID vaccine, and I want you to get it too, because we've already lost too many of our Black and brown people. Too many who can't be there for weddings, quinceañeras. And these vaccines are nearly 100% effective. And yes, it's hard to trust something that seemed to be developed so fast, but know this, they cut red tape, not science. So get the vaccine, be there for your life. This is your shot.
Y me encanta que lo hizo en español también, porque es tan importante. Oh, sorry, I had SAP on. Hold on. My apologies. I was so happy that he did it in Spanish as well. You know, I'm half Puerto Rican, and it's very important in our community to see someone that we relate to. You know, we're always like, oh, the white people first. We, you know, let them do some crazy stuff, then we'll wait. you know, but it's so important to get vaccinated, and we've got to send that message across. So I love that they used him as a spokesperson. I will also say, like, man, he's gotten old. My God, how like, oh, I remember him from My So-Called Life, right? That
Yeah,
was
of
him.
course.
Oh, a million
He
years
still looks
ago.
good, though.
Qué
Age happens to
lindo.
the
He
best
looks
of
good,
us.
especially when he takes his shirt off.
Yeah.
He is
Have you
sexy.
seen him post his IG?
I bet
He is
you have.
still very body.
That you have.
And if I didn't already have my vaccine, I would get it because of him.
Yes,
Right?
You know, I have the exact same reaction. I am a gigantic Star Trek fan. Gigantic. Star Wars doesn't exist in my world compared to Star Trek. And I love his character on Discovery. And it is so positive for the LGBTQ community. We have a very significant percentage of hesitancy in our community. We
Surprising.
cannot assume that everyone's going to be vaccinated. And we need you to consider it. We need you to look at the science. The science is proof. And by the way, we continue to report every week. The CDC is showing now in full vaccinations, we've crossed 100 million fully vaccinated. And do you know how many cases have broken out? Only 7,000
That's it.
Wow.
after 100 million
Gotten a lot
vaccinations.
better.
The science is fantastic.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
Masks
we're
who?
getting there. Yeah. And mask up.
Mask up, of course. And so that is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network is passionate about our support for the LGBTQ community. An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership.
The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live. We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is My Queer Church. Watch this.
Hi everybody, my name is Eddie Marti Krang and I'm your field and community organizer for SAVE, Safeguarding American Values for Everyone, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Our set designer, Concepto Modern Living here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set in this amazing queer church square possible.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsors, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and the best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in as many groups that you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your friends and family.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television news in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. That is the passion that Happening Out Television Network and our Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Faye Watt, John Buckley, Misty Eyes, and Gabe Galan, we will see you daily, and that means tomorrow night at 8 p.m.